So today we're going to take our editing a step further, but this is going to involve a whole ethical conversation and making good choices. Before you would do any of this with a subject, if it isn't you, you would want to get their permission, and before sharing it out, you should consider I don't know that you should consider. I think you should be honest and say these are edited using neuro filters in Adobe Photoshop. So that is kind of the route that we're going as a class. And I hope that you consider good, responsible choices as you are editing using any tools, especially AI. So have fun with this though, but make good choices. We're going to add some emotion to our image using color and some filters. So to begin, this picture has already had its basic editing. So we are going to start by adding in a vignette feature. Go to the first drop-down filter menu. We're going to choose lens correction. And once we have lens correction, what we're going to work is we're going to move to custom, and we're going to play with Vignette. The reason we're going to play with Vignette is because what Vignette does is it adds sort of like a shading to the outer edges of our picture. It almost puts like a little bit of a shaded gradient, and it is drawing the eye to the face here. I can change where the midpoint is of that vignette, so where the light spot will be. If I want to adjust that from the center, I can, but in this picture, which is very balanced, I can leave it in the middle. That's totally fine here. Just as adding a little bit more mood to it. After I added my vignette, I'm going to play with photo filters. This is going to be a layer, so I go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and I'm going to choose the option Photo Filter. Now, photo filters are like the filters that we would put on our lens to change the colors, the outcome colors. It would pull things out. So in this case, I know the emotion that I'm playing with. I want like a sadness to it, a coolness to it, a down kind of emotion, and very unhappy. So I'm going to choose a cooling filter, and it's a blue color. And I can change the density of it, meaning like how much of it is going to come through. So I want a bit of a lot to it. So enough where I can see that there's this blue color in the image, and this is giving me exactly what I want. So I'm very pleased with that. So that works for me. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to collapse this so it goes away. I don't like to crowd my window with a bunch of panels. This you don't have to do, but maybe if it's going to add another level of emotion, I suggest trying it. So I'm adding a new blank layer just by hitting that plus sign down at the bottom of my layers palette. And in my toolbox, if I choose my foreground color, you're going to choose what color you want. In this case, I want a blue. And I want a blue that's a little bit more midnight, so darker. So I'm going near the black end spectrum of my colors. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this color on top of my picture, and yep, it just colored my picture. So there's two ways to adjust what this layer is going to do. Remember, layers are like pieces of paper on top of each other, so this layer is the thing that's closest to us. I could change the blending mode of it, so if I choose the different blending modes here, it's giving me different effects, and I want to see which one of these is going to give me what I want. So in this case, I actually want to add in soft light. I'm liking the effect of that, and it's a little bit much, so I am going to lower the opacity so it's not too crazy. But let's look at what this did. So this is before I added it. That's just with the cooling filter, and that's after. This is giving me an emotional response, so I like this. I'm going to go with it. All right, finally, we're going to totally change the expression on our subject's face with neuro filters. Now, as a class, remember, we decided that before we use neuro filters, we needed to get the subject's permission. And if we show the image, we have to cite that we used Adobe neuro filters in Photoshop. So the filter we're going to be working with, oh, okay. So I'm noticing it doesn't give me that option. Okay, here's why. Before I can add a neuro filter, I need to collapse my layers and make it all one layer. So I need to go to Layer, which is the drop-down menu, Flatten Image, so that the face is detected. Now, if I go to Filter, Neuro Filters, Smart Portrait will be accessible because there will be a face to work with. So if it's off, just toggle it on. And what we're going to play with is under Featured, and I'm going to take the happiness specifically down. So I'm only going to do it a little bit because my goal is for this to look realistic, not that it was AI generated. So I have to watch how it changes the expression specifically between his eyes, the edges of his face, maybe the corners of his mouth. Okay, so what this did was it brought his eyes a little bit closer together. When you're totally relaxed and calm, your eyes probably fall. If I look at what it looked like before, this brought his eyes a little bit closer together, and it took his chin and it brought like his teeth, his jaw a little tighter together. So now I'm going to take it a step further under expressions, and I'm going to take anger, and I'm going to take that to the -10 as well. I'm choosing to mirror the happiness where I put that -10. Why? For no other reason than I feel like there's a symmetry in keeping the numbers. I don't know if there's truth to that, but that's what I'm going with. Okay, now his lips are even tighter, closer together. So let's look at what this image looked like before and after. Yeah, his mouth is closer together, so he's looking a lot more unpleasant. So to me, this is looking pretty realistic. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to remember. So here's what it looked like before we did the AI and after. So what I want to do here is I want to see if I could use an eraser tool, and I want to clean up on that layer right in this area. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to zoom in. I need to take out my navigator. Okay. So I'm going to toggle to exactly that area that I want to clean up and I recommend being very, very close when you're doing this. So I'm going to get my eraser tool. My brush is very fuzzy. And I'm just cleaning up that area so that it doesn't look as fuzzy. Because again, that's how you can figure out there was AI done to this picture. So now I'm going to take this bar, sort of do my edge lightly. Okay, I've restored the texture that's near his, I guess that would be like his facial hair. Yeah. Okay, now let's double click the hand tool and zoom out. Yep, now I can tell less that that was AI generated. So we have totally changed our friend here. And we've given him a different expression, and there isn't too much. I think it'd be kind of hard for the naked eye to be able to spot that. So that was our goal here, and I think mission accomplished. There we go.